What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the 31st episode of For Better or Worse. Let me make sure everyone comes in here. Let me get my retweets out the way. And just go from here. See who's going to come in. I know it's the home run derby. I know it's nothing crazy. Nick called me a degenerate. But what are we going to do? Just watch this thing and not bet on it? Absolutely not. And I know you guys want to bet on it too. So that's what we're going to do. Let me just plug it in one more time. And we should be good to go. All right. Welcome to the 31st episode. It's just me. Nick is saying I'm a degenerate, whatever. We're going to bet on this thing. And I did a lot of unnecessary research that may turn out to be something, and it may not. Either way, I had some fun researching. Just a little FYI, if you're on Twitter and you put a comment in, I probably won't be able to see it. But if you go on our YouTube, which is also live right now, you can also put your comment on, and then our producer Corey can just drag it over, and I'll be able to see it. So if you want me to see the comment, I would suggest going to YouTube. But either way, we're here. We're ready to grind. We're going to go through the list, and I'm going to give you everybody's reasoning as to why they should win, or the storyline per se of how they will win. And then we'll get into matchups and who I ultimately think will take this. So I'm going to go first with the Kyle Schwarber, Albert Pujols matchup. Kyle Schwarber, he came in second back in the day to Bryce Harper in 2018. So he's pissed off. He knows he wants to win. He said he wants to win. He said he's been practicing like he wants to win. He's, doesn't want to just do it just to do it. He wants to take over and win. He said he learned from the last time to where he doesn't have to go so heavy in round one. And since he's playing Albert Pujols in the first round of the bracket, maybe that's an advantage where he doesn't have to go as heavy and maybe can escape not really exerting that much energy. So that's a great thing to look at. Again, the Home Run Derby changed their rules in 2015 to do the timed rounds instead of the outs. So before 2015, if a pitcher threw a bad pitch and you didn't swing, nothing happened. It was just next pitch. And then if you swung at it and got out, that was when it counted. So the timed setup really gives an advantage to those younger hitters who can just keep swinging, because you have to do it fast. You have to keep swinging it basically almost every pitch to try to get something, or else you just waste the pitch. So Albert Pujols is the storyline everyone wants. It's his last season, basically, his retirement season. It'd be cool if he won it, yada, yada, yada. I'm not buying it. If Albert Pujols wins, I will tip my cap to the guy. But I think you have to take Kyle Schwarber to come out of that round. Going to the Juan Soto versus Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is kind of just, there's really no storyline with him. Juan Soto has this trade talk surrounding him, has all this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to sign the extension. Now they're looking to trade him for like everything in the kitchen sink. Juan Soto's also younger than Jose Ramirez by a decent chunk. I'm going to give the advantage to Soto just because he did well last time. And I think he's young enough and they don't really need anything to win. They're just going to coast this season. Why not try to win the Home Run Derby? It's an extra $1 million for the young guy. I'm going to lean Juan Soto in that side right there. Going to the other side of the bracket with the Pete Alonso versus Ronald Acuna. This is the most intriguing matchup because Acuna is only a 7 seed because he didn't hit a lot of home runs. So basically, they did their seeding based off who hit the most home runs this season. Ronald Acuna Jr. didn't hit the most home runs at all because he was hurt for a big chunk of it. So him getting the 7 seed is a very tough draw for Pete. Obviously, I don't need to explain the storyline for Pete because he's won it the past 2 times. He's going for a third one. Why not try to go and be the first person ever to do this 3-peat? I get it. He was also hit by like a car, I think, in the offseason. Says he's living every moment to the fullest. Acuna's a sleeper pick, though. The problem with Acuna, though, is that his odds are terrible, even though he faces um, Pete Alonso in the first round. He's only like plus 600, plus 650. And for him to have the toughest draw in the first round, that's very hard. I don't know if I could take that. Although when I dove into it, and I'll tell you my formula that I kind of alluded a little bit to on Twitter last night, he was a name that kind of popped out. I'm going to take Pete Alonso for my own personal reasons to beat him. Although I do think the pressure for this home run derby might be a little too much for Alonso. I will say off the bat, I think Alonso does take this, but you can't bet Pete Alonso at 2-1. That's just stupid. Like, I would never advise that at all. I talked about it a little bit on the Cash That podcast. The most intriguing matchup for me is the Corey Seager versus Julio Rodriguez. And that's because Corey Seager is returning home to the Dodgers, where he just left to sign that massive deal. And, the fans are going to give him a standing ovation. He won some World Series with them, World Series MVP. Young guy, just doing it, blah, blah, blah. It's a nice little story, and everyone loves him. Everyone thinks they're sharp when they do this. It's like, oh, everyone loves Julio, so I'm going to pick Corey Seager because I'm sharp. Like, no, it's the home run derby. No one's sharp. You could try to be sharp, but no one's actually sharp. Like, I did all this research just for fun because why not? I think it'd be cool if it panned out, but I'm not going to say I'm like some from the future analyst, super sharp guy if my pick wins. It's whatever. It's the home run derby. So going to that matchup, though, Julio Rodriguez does intrigue me because of the money. The reason why I was on Alonso in years past was because he was making $500,000. You win $1 million if you win the home run derby. Julio Rodriguez makes $700,000 for his contract for this season. So Julio Rodriguez can more than double his money if he just wins this derby. Everyone else is making, 19 million, 20 million, 10 million, which I get it. It's still $1 million, but $1 million is different when you only make 700,000 versus when you make 20 million. I will say that. He's also 21 years old, so the timed theory leans in his favor there. So I'm going to take Julio Rodriguez out of that matchup to advance. Although this is Corey Seager's second home run derby, so it does have a little bit of an advantage. I will take Julio Rodriguez with the money and the age theory per se. So I have Schwarber versus Soto and Alonso versus Julio Rodriguez. This is where it just gets kind of weird. You could pretty much make an argument for anybody. I, again, personally think Pete Alonso is going to win, so I'm going to put Pete Alonso. If I had to just do it based off no odds, I would do Pete Alonso versus Kyle Schwarber. Pete Alonso beats Kyle Schwarber. But those are the two guys in the championship. Or I'd do Pete Alonso over Juan Soto. But I'm going to go and give you guys what I found in my deep dive of analytics, if you want to call it that. So what I found out was, going back to all the derbies in the last 5 years, basically since the rule change, not counting the Todd Frazier year in 2015. So 2021 was Pete Alonso, 2019 was Pete Alonso, 2018 was Bryce Harper, 2017 was Aaron Judge, and 2016 was Giancarlo Stanton. What do all those guys have in common? Well, they were all 26 or younger, which leaves us with Acuna, Soto, and Julio Rodriguez. That's all it leaves us with. But if you want to count this as well, all the winners were someone in an East division, whether it was the NL East or the AL East. It was because Giancarlo Stanton went to the Yankees, but when he won it, he was on the Marlins. So it went Mets, Nationals, Yankees, Marlins. So 4 of the 5 years was someone in the NL East. 5 of the 5 years was someone in an East division, which leaves us Schwarber, Alonso, Acuna, and Soto, which basically, if you take both of those things and leave who we're with, it's Acuna or Soto. Now, one thing I also noticed was every winner had a record of 500 or better. I believe the worst team that won was Bryce Harper in 2018 when they were 500 at the break. So that knocks out Juan Soto, where if you look at the only person who is in an East division is younger than 26, and their team has a record of 500 or better. The deep dive analytics that don't matter at all say that Ronald Acuna Jr. will win this home run derby. I loved it. Thought I was sick for doing it. And then I said, but this guy plays Pete Alonso in the first round, and he's only 6-1. So if that wins, you know what? It's like the man versus the machine, right? I'll let the machine take that one. That's what my machine kind of pumped out. But also, if you want to take out the NL East thing, or the East Division thing, I told you this is deep. I wasn't playing around. All right. I wasn't playing around. I see you. Someone said, LO, these analytics, this is deep. You're right. But I will say the East Division thing really doesn't matter. So if you really want to focus on the age thing, which I think the age thing holds some credibility because of the timed rounds where you have to swing when you're older, you can't really do it as well. These young guys can keep hammering away. So if you want to do just the age thing and based off if their team has a 500 record or better, it is Julio Rodriguez or Ronald Acuna. That's it. Pete Alonso has won the last 2 years. He is now 27 years old. So he, unfortunately, based off these numbers, is not going to do it. So it's either going to be Acuna or Julio Rodriguez. That is what I will say. I personally like Julio Rodriguez just because of the money, right? You want to see who has the most to prove, who has the most to earn, who has the most to gain from this home run derby. All these guys are already established. Julio Rodriguez could really make a name for himself. Maybe Ken Griffey Jr. gave him a call and was like, yo, this is how you do it. Seattle Mariner love. I don't know. But he's 21 years old. He's got swing speed out the wazoo. He more than doubles his money. That's like if you make let's say you make $75,000 a year, and I was like, I'll give you $130,000 if you win that office softball game. You're gonna go crazy for that office softball game because you're gonna make more than double or almost double what you make for the whole season at your office. Like, it's just simple psychology. So I'm gonna go with Julio at plus 1,000. Again, I already talked about this on the Cash That podcast when I was a guest. Julio Rodriguez at plus 1,000 is the most intriguing bet for me. I'm also going to take Julio Rodriguez over Corey Seager in the first round at minus 115. And if you want something fun to bet, I think I'm going to take Julio Rodriguez. If you want to do the winner or the finalists or whatever, I'm going to do Julio Rodriguez versus Kyle Schwarber at plus 950. Julio Rodriguez versus Kyle Schwarber at plus 950. Again, I think Alonso does end up taking this, but from a betting perspective, the value is on Julio Rodriguez. It is what it is. I don't make these numbers. I don't make the analytics. I just checked into something that I thought was cool. So I'm going to root for Alonso. As you see, my Mets, you can't see it, but my Mets jersey, I'm rooting for Alonso. But if it's not Alonso, I do like Julio Rodriguez. So I might hedge my happiness in that aspect, or whoever Alonso faces down the line, and just bet against him. Because if he wins, I don't mind throwing a couple bucks. And again, please do not bet full units on this thing. That's just stupid. Do it for fun. Have a couple drinks. Enjoy this thing. I'm going to do some recaps of my MLB futures probably on the next episode For Better or Worse, or on my show, The Daily Grind, tomorrow. Either or, you're going to get some more content. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's basically all I have to say. I think Alonso wins it. Julio Rodriguez is the value play, and Julio Rodriguez over Kyle Schwarber or Juan Soto, one of the two. there you have it. That is episode 31. I hope Nick watches this start to finish. And I know Nick is going to bet on the Homer Derby, even though he says you're a degenerate if you do. You're not a degenerate if you bet on the Homer Derby. You are disciplined, you are dedicated, and you're just a beast. That's it. We'll see you in the next episode on Wednesday. That is episode 31 of For Better or Worse. Peace.